Look at a map of South Asia before 1971, and you'll spot a geopolitical anomaly. Pakistan existed as a single nation divided into two distinct pieces, West Pakistan and East Pakistan. They were separated by 1,000 miles of hostile Indian territory. The physical distance mirrored a deep internal divide. The central government in the West hoarded economic resources and political power, leaving the citizens of East Pakistan systematically neglected and disenfranchised. The tension snapped after the 1970 elections. East Pakistani leader Sheikh Mujibur Rahman secured a clear democratic majority to lead the entire country. The ruling establishment in the West refused to hand over power. The denial of the election results shifted the movement in the East. What began as a campaign for fair representation evolved into a struggle for cultural identity and physical survival. On March 25, 1971, the West Pakistani military launched Operation Searchlight. They moved through East Pakistan with a brutal mandate to silence the Bengali resistance. Soldiers targeted civilians, students, and intellectuals. Thousands were killed in the initial sweeps, triggering widespread panic and forcing families to abandon their homes. The resulting exodus was massive. Look at this column of displaced families. Around 10 million people poured across the border into India. Providing food, shelter, and medical care for these arrivals placed an unsustainable strain on local infrastructure. The logistical and economic strain of supporting 10 million people left India with little choice. Action was required to stabilize the region and protect their own borders. Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi made a calculated pivot. Managing the border spillover was no longer enough. India decided to actively back the Bengali resistance. The Indian military began setting up covert camps near the border. They supplied weapons, offered safe haven, and provided tactical training to the local fighters. These fighters formed the Mukti Bahini, a fierce grassroots guerrilla force drawn from East Pakistan's own citizens, determined to liberate their home. By arming the Mukti Bahini, India opened a first front from the inside out. They forced the West Pakistani military to bleed resources fighting a deeply entrenched local insurgency before a formal war even began. A direct military assault carried a massive risk. If India declared war, allied global superpowers might deploy their own forces to defend West Pakistan. To neutralize that threat, Gandhi went on an aggressive global diplomatic tour. She presented international leaders with the undeniable realities of the atrocities in East Pakistan, building a strong moral consensus. To deter foreign intervention, India signed a mutual defense treaty with the Soviet Union. This agreement effectively warned other global powers to stay out of the conflict. This diplomatic blockade isolated West Pakistan on the world stage. It gave the Indian military the exact strategic breathing room they needed to prepare for a direct offensive. The ignition point finally arrived on December 3, 1971. Pakistan launched preemptive airstrikes against Indian airbases, dragging the two nations into open warfare. India was ready. Alongside the Mukti Bahini, they launched a massive, multi-directional assault into East Pakistan by air and ground. Indian armored divisions and infantry units deployed rapidly. They bypassed heavily fortified towns and smashed straight through the broader Pakistani defensive lines. The allied Indian and Bengali forces carried immense momentum. In contrast, the West Pakistani troops found themselves isolated, undersupplied, and cut off from reinforcements. India provided the conventional military might, and the Mukti Bahini provided pinpoint local intelligence. Together, they boxed the West Pakistani army into a tactical trap that forced a rapid collapse. From the start of open hostilities to total military victory, the entire conflict lasted exactly 13 days. This photograph documents the climax. On December 16, 1971, in Dhaka, the Pakistani forces signed an unconditional surrender. With those signatures, the territory known as East Pakistan was permanently erased from the globe. The signatures on the surrender document formalized the end of the war and the creation of an independent, sovereign nation. Let's look back at the map. The old borders fall away, the divided nation is dissolved, and the independent country of Bangladesh officially emerges. Creating a new nation requires overwhelming local courage. But securing that nation required an ally who could seamlessly integrate humanitarian relief, calculated global diplomacy and precise military force.